Hello, good morning, good evening. How is everybody doing? Looks like we've got a bunch of people tuning in. I'm happy to be back here. Hope you guys are all staying safe in the PH there. I've got news from AC that the typhoons have subsided. So hopefully all of you guys are safe and sound and geared up for next week, which is YGG Play Summit. I hope you guys are ready. If you don't have a ticket, there is a form in the Discord AMA discussion channel where you can fill it out and possibly win a ticket today on stream. At the end, we will be adding all the names into a raffle and I don't know, pulling maybe 3 to 5 winners. So feel free to do that. Also, tacos are not working. The events are not working. So we will be doing a manual taco Tuesday. Well, Taco Wednesday, I guess. So fill out that form, make sure your Discord ID is the right ID, and I will have those tacos airdropped to you. But we've got another jam-packed stream here, and we've got some amazing guests to dive into everything Warp Gaming, which is another publishing company similar to what YGG is doing, but with their own twist. So without further ado, let me pull on Matt as well as Shalyn. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks so much for having me. And yeah, it's really exciting to be up here and chat to everyone today and get into a little bit of what we got going on and how us and YGG partner together and what that looks like.
Yes, exciting. Very, very exciting. And thank you, Shalyn, for rushing home. I know you were busy there. We were chatting as you were driving. So glad to see you're sitting down and focused 100% on today's stream.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thank you for having us and look forward to the conversation.
Yeah. So why don't we dive right into it? And why don't you both tell us a little bit about who you guys are, what you do at Warp, and maybe how you got involved in the blockchain space itself?
Yeah, sure thing. So I'm happy to kick off. I'm Matt. I'm the CEO and one of the co-founders of Warp. I've been in the gaming space for about 20 years now. Everything from Angry Birds, Mini Clips, 8-Ball Paul, RuneScape, yeah, you name it, I've been on it, whether it's PC or mobile. I worked for King with Candy Crush, and after all of that, I was insane enough to want to get into the exciting space of Web3. Like, I've been hovering around crypto since 2016. I kind of didn't even know that you could even have crypto games until Axie showed me that that was actually the way and that was possible. And that started my journey into essentially raising money for a studio and wanting to be part of the space, because I've always thought that, you know, the best way to have the future of gaming is where instead of us paying to advertise to companies, we can just pay people to come to the games, and then, you know, that works. So this is kind of a little bit about me, and I'll hand over to Shao.
Hello. I got into the space mainly because of NFTs. Gary Vee brought me in, but what kept me here was the community, the people. And it's been one of those things that's been actually full circle for me, because I actually, at university, interned and worked for Vivendi Universal for over a year and a half, mainly doing project management. But that being said, it was a great experience because, you know, being in gaming as a whole as a kid has always been something that's been impactful. And to actually be able to do this, I feel bad wanting to say a couple of decades later, but here I am nonetheless. And I love it because, you know, when it came to blockchain and community and NFTs, there was nothing better, you know, during that 21, 22 cycle, because it was just so much fun, so much culture. And I got to meet so many different people. And so I've actually been in gaming in Web3 for about 2.5 years with another studio, and got the opportunity to jump over to Warp because I felt really empowered and I have a lot of passion for not only Matt and the founder and the team, but really just gaming in general, right? Understanding that building is really something that goes usually traditionally behind the scenes, and being able to elevate it, get in front of the camera, get in front of the mic, and have these conversations, because in the end, you know, we're all here for it because we really believe in the ecosystems, the ethos, and what's being presented. And being part of Warp has been so personal for me because I think they're doing it phenomenally and the right way, which is incorporating guilds, incorporating gamers in a way that I think hasn't been done traditionally, even in Web3, because I feel like there's still that separation, that divide. And so for us at Warp, with our capital guilds, as well as some of the other things that we have in place, we're really able to empower the gamers as a whole, right? Warp stands for We Are Players. So
we are real
real
players.
players, yes, sir.
There we go.
I love that. So Warp is an acronym.
Yeah, essentially.
Actually.
It is, and it's also about bringing games back up to speed. So one of the things that I noticed is I started my own games company in Web3, and I wanted to do things the right way from the start. I wanted to make sure that the games were rewarding for people and that everyone who's playing them was coming up, but that would be in a sustainable way, because many of the mobile games I've worked on, they've been like 9 years old, like Angry Birds 2. That was celebrating its 9th anniversary or so when I left over a year ago, and it's still going strong. The 8-Ball Pool multiplayer, they were running that on mobile when I started in I was literally there when we took it off Facebook in 2012 and put it on mobile. And it's still like 10, 13 years later, still one of the biggest games and the biggest game for Miniclip on mobile. And what I wanted is, I think, this persistence of the NFTs, this idea that if you get an item from the first game in a series, that when you're on like GTA 6 or something, like imagine if you had the stuff that you had from GTA 1 with you, how much fun that would be. Because I know a lot of people who actually keep their old memory cards from like their PlayStation days or those sorts of things. People like to keep mementos, even if they're kind of like, useless for those things. But imagine if all of those memory cards, if all of those things that you did as a gamer actually had value and you were rewarded for your time. And if they don't have value to you anymore, you could sell them on like baseball cards or Pokemon cards or anything that people kind of tend to sell. And I think for me, I see so much potential and future in a sort of a global, they're calling it like digital capital markets or all of these kind of things. But look, just imagine when you have like cinema tickets that are NFTs that you can swap for something that you got in a game, and that becomes easy. Like imagine when you actually have everything that you want to do in real life is also connected to all of the things that you do online. And I think games are the perfect bridge for that. And like the sort of the promise of Axie, I feel like has never been delivered in the same way since. The amount of lives that got changed at that time has never been sort of equaled by what's come after it. And I think there have been many reasons for that. And partly it's the game studios didn't get enough support. Maybe they got VC funding, maybe they got help with the community, putting shit tons of money into them and all of this kind of stuff. But there was no real support and guidance from people who'd done this before and failed. I think this is what publishers excel at. It's not about chains giving you grants and things like that. It's about giving you something so that you're not alone as a game studio or as a founder, and that you can continue to build for the multiple years it takes you to actually get your product out and to get people to enjoy it, to get excited behind it. And people need help to do that, and people need to realize it's a long road. And so, if you're going to take a community with you and build a community, then you don't want to have to struggle as a game. Like that's why all of the games in Web2, they hide it. They don't show anything. Like they will not show anything. You have to have NDAs. You can't show a damn thing, because if the game's not good enough, they just will quietly kill it and not tell you. But this space is different. So we have a publisher where we actually have fundamental belief in the people we work with. And that's why we're okay to put them out in front of the community. And that's why we're okay to sort of build with these guys and build in public. We've over 300 years of combined games and Web3 and Web2 experience in the Warp team. We've got the former COO of Decentraland. We've got the guy who designed Battle.net. We've got like ex-EA, ex-Valve, like you name it, we have it. We built half the gaming industry. And we've got one of the co-founders of King.com, the Candy Crush guys as well. And what this basically gives us is not for us to say to people we're the experts, we're like the best at this stuff. It's to say, if you need help, we do have a person who has probably encountered that issue and we can help you get past it, because it is complicated. It's difficult, this space.
Yeah, it really is. I think, even now, a lot of games are still trying to figure out how to navigate, what to say properly. Do I call it an NFT, or do I just say it's blockchain technology? Do not say anything at all, because some people have a stigma around it. There's all of these different things where a game is trying to skirt that line of how much do I say I'm involved with Web3 without having all the negative connotations that have unfortunately come with it, right? Over time, the stigmas that we're still trying to break, the bad actors that have done rug pulls with NFTs and stuff like that, right? So I'm sure you guys are both very familiar with that, being in the space, right? Obviously, Axie's meteoric rise to fame, and then inevitably it's kind of lull and taper off into, well, I wouldn't say oblivion, because Axie is still doing great things, but it's definitely it's one of those things where it's kind of, I guess, like a one-hit wonder, in the sense where you're always trying to chase that high after. Obviously, I'm an Axie holder, so I still have faith that down the road they will be able to come up back to the highs and stuff. But again, it's one of those things where it's, how do you navigate these things properly? So why don't we talk a little bit about exactly what Warp is and how you guys are helping these games navigate it on more of a technical scale?
Yeah, sure thing. I'm happy to jump in here, or Shao, if you want to add something.
Oh, please, you get started. I love hearing this story, even on my end, and having heard it, 50 million times.
Yeah, it's all good. Just, so I don't bore Shao to tears, but what we actually do, how we help games, is we essentially assess the game that we're looking at, and we will look at the data. So we'll actually sign NDAs with them so that the game is confident to share its data with us. After we look through the data and we've looked at the team, we'll decide, do we want to publish this game together? Do we think that this works? And then we will obviously ask them what kind of help they need. Do they need help on monetization? Do they need help on the core loop? Do they need to raise some finances? Do they need to grow their community? And then we set about creating a plan. And that's partly where it comes into, distribution. At the end of the day, as a publisher, our goal is to get that fantastic game that's built very well in front of as many people as possible. And part of the reason that we believe that we can do this very well is we have all of the tech, like the blockchain tech that a Web3 game needs, and we give it to them for free. So if you need wallets, we have it. If you need marketplaces, white label, questing, all of this kind of stuff, it's all built. It's all part of Warp Catalyst. That we essentially can give to all of these games if they should need it. They don't have to have it. And the best thing about Warp is, even though we're a Web3 company, even though we have our own L1, our entire financial model doesn't revolve around the game's token being successful. Our games and our L1, like, no one comes on our chain. No games are on our chain. Our chain is basically to deliver the finance for games. So what that means is we're insulated from the price rises and falls of those game tokens. So we essentially just hold the money for advertising these games and bringing people in, and then we use DeFi to superpower and to supercharge that growth. And when it comes to community side and the distribution, I think Shao, as one of the pioneers of the Capital Guilds program, it's over to you to say how we actually get games out into the wild.
Yeah, so I think what's super unique is that we actually have nodes that we are utilizing to do all the validation. What this allows us to do is redistribute the revenue that we get from our games in a way that hasn't been done before, which is giving it back to the gamers through the guilds. This allows us to not only incentivize, but really empower them so that they know that what they do and how they do it matters within both the games as well as our Warp ecosystem. The things that matters to when it comes to the guilds is having a treasury ownership, getting early game access, validator influence, referral bonuses, co-marketing, all these great things that really put things together in a way that allows, like, our partnership with the YGG to and other guilds to lean into what they do best, right? Which is creating content, game nights, all these different type of activations that you guys are already doing in a way that takes it from, again, participation into actual ownership in a way that I think is so needed. And not only do we do that across, one or two guilds, but we actually have, I think Matt, gives, because the number keeps climbing, I think we're at 21 now. So it's just one of those things that really does change the landscape of how, studios are working, because really it's people think about closed loop, we think of open loop, and I say open loop, and Matt hasn't corrected me yet, but the reason why I say open loop is because it's the participation, it's the ability to have like play test where you can actually give feedback and drive value through your participation. I know I'm kind of using these words intermittently and all over the place, but I think they matter because in the end, it's the result, right? And for me, personally speaking, with all these different partners, is empowering them to like be involved as much as little as they want to, in a way that has long-term lasting effect. Because the more you participate, it gives us the assurance that, hey, we're going to continue to work with you across all of our games that we have. So maybe it's an initiation or activation that is a genre or a platform, like it's mobile, but maybe your guild's primarily on PC. We're going to give you opportunities at the get-go, and more importantly, we're giving you opportunities to actually expand beyond maybe the things that you typically do. Because for us, we want to give as many gamers and get their hands on these things in a way that they haven't been able to do for your traditional games, like Fortnite, Call of Duty. Like, you play the game, maybe someone hears you, but you actually get to talk to the founders, the builders, the people in this space in a way that gives you access to shape and push forward the narrative of what Web3 is. So we really have a strong baseline of what is possible, but more importantly, we have a flywheel that we'll get into that really helps drive what's possible from today, from 5 to 10 years from now.
Yeah, it's kind of like a perfect match, right, between Warp and YGG here, because again, guilds are such an integral part of what YGG does. And we've seen all the amazing things that Web3 is really good at, which at the heart of it is community, and this really interactive open building, right, between games and the community itself, whether it's guilds or just the game community, where again the feedback is really heard almost instantaneously by game developers. If the community's not happy, they'll go and tweak stuff almost on the fly, a lot of the time, if it's in their wheelhouse. Because again, right, when you're not dealing with big oversized communities where you have a lot of splinters of different people, you can really take that feedback to heart and say, you know what, this is exactly what the community wants, and this aligns with the vision of what we're going to do with the game. We should probably implement that ASAP, right? And we've seen that time and time again with all our guilds. I'm sure you guys are seeing that as well, right? There's a lot of passionate people in this space, and they will readily give you their opinion, good or bad.
Whether you ask for it or not.
Yeah, exactly. So on that note, like, do you kind of just want to talk about a little bit more about that technology that you were talking about, like the L1 and the nodes and stuff like that?
Yeah, of course. So essentially, we have our own Avalanche L1, and that is because we want to be a DeFi chain for games. And what I mean is, like, just like you see a lot of chains like Curve and things like that, Finance, you've got essentially node holding, and node holding gives you Warp token, and that comes from the earnings of the game as well as from the token. So the idea is that when we share out nodes, and when we have games themselves get their own nodes, we enter into a kind of a paradigm where the game itself, as they're building up and they have a node, they're a net extractor on the system. But as soon as that game becomes profitable, as soon as that game can give back to the system, then that game is causing buybacks for everyone else, and that's raising the price of the token, and that's increasing the sort of the value of your emissions on this. And we want to keep that separate and isolated from the rest of the sort of token ecosystem. And one of the things that we're doing is we are going to be making game tokens available as index products, and we're also going to be using DeFi to essentially improve on the staking model and get into the internet capital market version of user acquisition spend. So if you look at what user acquisition spend and marketing is, it's $300 billion of user acquisition and in-game ads every year, and not $1 of that at the moment, not one, is tokenized. And that's what we're going to do. So if a game wants to use this pool of resources that we're going to tokenize and allow people to buy into, and essentially make yield on what the game spends on its advertising, and then versus what it gets back in profit. We have loads and loads of money spent on this every single day. We were spending hundreds of thousands a day on Rovio for Angry Birds, like 300,000 a day on one game, just spending. And that wasn't like through it. Like there were channels on top of that that we'd spend on. And if we tokenize this, and if we allow people to put their to stake their token and to put their stable coins or their warp coin into this, and then they can be taking part of this profits, they can be taking part of that yield as well, that allows us to scale up games much faster. And then all of these games holding nodes, so they get that kickback. All of the guilds that are capital guilds are holding nodes, and the node holders themselves. If you work for your bags, as in you play the game you like with the guild you like, you don't have to care about the rest of the ecosystem. But if you're pushing that game you like, that is making money for everyone in the ecosystem. And when, for example, there is a game that you guys, you don't have a game that day from Warp, or you don't have that, there is someone else playing a game on a PC that's really a hardcore game that you are not into. And that is also helping your bags. And this is the idea, is to basically make everyone to do the things they want to do and like, and get their bags for it. This is the original concept behind like play to earn, is that you do a thing that is fun and rewarding for you, and that you get rewarded for that. And it's become skill to earn or wager to earn or all of these different things. But essentially, if you provide the service as a player, and the service of the player is to provide player liquidity and to bring others in, as long as you're expanding the network, as long as you're bringing others in and you're giving more value to that game, that value is returned to you in kind. And it's just proportional. So it's not play to earn as in that it's unsustainable. It's the more effort you put in, the more effort everyone puts in, the more money comes out naturally, because this is just given out as a fixed percentage of the whole thing as it grows. So as the whole thing grows, everything grows. And it's not related to the token price, it's related to the income. So you get the token and we will do buybacks, and that will hopefully make the token price go to the moon. But the whole thing is related to us being a publisher of fantastic games, and that we've got so many in the pipeline. It's actually having to send games home is the hard part right now.
Well, that's it, right? You got to be pretty picky with what you guys put on, right? There are a lot of people that are putting games together willy-nilly, trying to just get some VC capital, right? So I'm guessing you guys know all about trying to weed out the games that are real games that the companies are going to stick behind and really develop, versus the guys that want an easy bag, a rug pull to say.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can definitely look at the ones who have come into it, like, just imagine that gold was discovered in a mountain near where you live, and then suddenly your entire town's full of gold hunters who've come from all walks of life. So I mean, it's good to get people interested in games, and a lot of the best games companies are founded by people who've never built a game before, but those were many years ago. And to get through that, we basically check, did you look at Axie and then try and raise immediately afterwards? Did you raise in 21 from your community? If you're still alive, well, props to you. But a lot of the games that raised at that time, they became very extractive and they didn't finish the game. So we take a good look at how much experience they've got, where they are in the game. And we've got some fantastic games from all sorts of different founders. Like we got just announced Chikoi, which is like a fighting game, AAA fighting game that is streamed. It's fantastic. Like, we look at good tech, we look at things that benefit the community. And the one thing that we didn't do is like say, hey, we're Warp, we're going to make a massive community, we're going to kick the ass of Valve. We were like, no, let's find the people where they are, where they're happy. And they're happy in YGG, and they're happy in the community, and they're happy playing different games that you guys got. And we want to make you guys happier in those communities. Of course, we're going to have a place where you can see all of the games that are around, but you're also going to be able to see all of the guilds that you can join. So our platform, Warp Nation, which is just live at the moment for essentially people to go in and get SPDs and get ready for what's happening, is is going to be there so that you'll be able to go to the YGG page and you'll be able to hopefully see some events and some cool graphics for YGG. And if you're not a member of YGG, but you've come from another guild or you've just come in from a game, you'll be able to join YGG's servers and get involved. So we believe that if we as a publisher spread the love to the communities, if we build you guys up, if we have players that are floating and we send them to you, you're going to send them to somewhere that is cool, and that is eventually going to make a game better. And every game we make better by having more players and more fun is going to be able to give more rewards away. The more money a game makes, the better it's built, the more we can give away. And this is the difference, the fundamental difference between us in Web3 and the rest of them in Web2. We are looking to give away the maximum we can without killing our company, because we know that when we do that, that accelerates the growth, that accelerates everything. If you look at the industry, the more generous that we are as games developers, the more and the bigger and the better the industry gets. Like in the early days when we had arcade machines and you were playing and you're throwing in your quarter or whatever you got, and you get your ass kicked by Chun-Li, and that's it, that's over, that's game over. If you were the guy when that was all the rage to say, how about we take every single game in this arcade and we put it in one tiny box and we sell that at a loss, you'd have been thrown out of that window, or you'd have been sat in that window seat forever. But that was the console, and that was hugely successful. That made Nintendo, Sega, Sony, all of that a thing. That made so many massive amounts of like culture and childhood, and expanded the industry from what would have just been locked away in places that you had to visit and you had to pay and engage, and you would never be able to play Street Fighter if you didn't have a quarter. And that's what changed. So like once you've got through consoles, we went to, we had the internet, and we had things like World of Warcraft, and you could pay with a subscription, and you could experience RuneScape for free. And that expanded again the games industry. And I think it's like Activision Blizzard is, God, it's a huge company. They bought King for, I think it was 5 billion, but in total, like World of Warcraft just alone made 18 billion. RuneScape made 1 billion. And these were huge. And then beyond that even more generous than that was free to play on mobile. And as soon as games became on mobile and free, the Tencents or the Kings or all of these big companies came up with massive valuations. And that was because instead of the games being on the PC where you have to pay a subscription or you have to download it first, you could just download it on your phone and you could get started. And you could play the entire game for free, but because somewhere in the world, in a different country from you, someone else was paying for that game, you get to have that entertainment for free. And the most you might ever get to be asked is to watch an advert. And not even like in Candy Crush, you can play the game for free your entire life, and you won't even have to see an advert, which is crazy, right? That is the Robin Hood of the games industry, and that was really hated by everyone. In mobile gaming, it's terrible. It's really bad. It's fantastic. Mobile gaming was the most generous form of gaming until Web3 gaming existed. And it's just a balance, right, guys? It's just a balance. If we get it right, we can all be happy. Like if we empower people to play the games that they love and to get rewards from that, and that those rewards themselves help to build the network, and your actions that help to build your network make money for that game, and that game is going to be more generous with you. And so there is a way to get everyone individually working for their own self-interest, their own bags, and for everyone to come up. And that's what Warp is. And that's why we're with YGG, because you guys doing what you do and what you love will make the games that we build more money, which will be then returned to you as a guild, and will be returned to holders of our nodes and the games that we build. So that's kind of how the flywheel kind of works.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself, Matt, that it really is a flywheel, and there is this big opportunity that we've seen, growing and growing, where it doesn't have to be a zero-sum game, right? Where everybody can kind of come up, and the players that are playing your game, they're not just a consumer. They're not just money signs for these publishers to extract value from. There is value in these gamers playing your game outside of the money, right? Building the community, getting to know your game and telling their friends about it. Like there's so much value outside of that initial just purchase or maybe no purchase, right? If it's a free to play, like there's,
Mhm.
I think that really flipped the industry on its head where it's like, you know what? Maybe not having people pay for the game up front is the best idea. Maybe if they want a cool skin or something like that, we'll actually make more money down the road because of how much they value this game and certain things. And again, if we listen to the consumer on what they want to be monetized and what they don't want to monetize, we actually end up with a larger sum, right? So there's been this huge shift, as you said. It's come all the way from arcade games all the way to the digital age to mobile stuff where you don't even have to pay for the initial game or the total game. You pay for just other things that you find value in the game, and maybe you play the whole game and you don't find any, you don't want to put any money into it, right? But there is still some value from you playing it and enjoying it. Shalyn, what do you think about that? I'm assuming you've kind of come up through the era like me and Matt, where you've seen gaming change drastically, right? From I don't know if arcade. I wasn't really an arcade guy. That was a little bit before my time. But again, early consoles to all everything through. That's been me, and I've seen the big changes as it's come up from there. So what about you?
So it's interesting that you say that because I actually came from the arcade space. From as you were talking about Street Fighter, I actually helped bring gaming to a massive kind of critical mass when it came to fighting games. Right, I work with the Cannon brothers, who nowadays I think it's called Evo, right? But we started out having regional tournaments, national tournaments, where we eventually, brought it to Vegas. But what the crazy part for me was not only seeing it live with like Justin Wong and Daigo with the infamous Chun-Li and Ken Parry's. What's really great though is seeing that level of community. At a groundswell of just people going to your local arcade, going to regionals, and then going to nationals, is the fact that the level of competition is still there. And what we're doing is we're doing it at scale, right? With the internet and how we look at these things. And so for me, it's the natural evolution of how gaming has evolved, to where you're seeing League of Legends filling the entire stadium over at the time what they called it Staples Center. Right now it's Crypto Arena, and being part of that, living in LA really opened my eyes to seeing what was really possible. But more importantly, also understanding that the need for feedback and the need for the ability to be more involved at the level of working with studios, right? You used to have to know someone to get play access and play test and kind of be part of that loop, and now you get to do all of that in Web3, being part of the ecosystem, being part of guilds, being part of communities for those games, and driving not only the valuable feedback, but just being part of something more, right? When I was doing these tournaments and holding them in LA at school, when I first got into all this, it was just the thrill of seeing fellow gamers next to me and having great conversations and eating afterwards and doing all these things that you can now do, you know what I mean? In a way that I think is just so much more empowering, so much more impactful in terms of the experience, right? These are the type of things that you have with IP and game loops that really resonate with you, that change the dynamic of how gaming is felt. And now you're imprinting and experiencing these things all over the world. I'm fortunate enough to travel and see all of these events live, where people are at gaming stations, and there's anywhere from like 8 to 16 people playing at a time. And it's just incredible to know that again, going from consumer to actual participant, but like also, I don't know what we want to call this, but like, yeah, just being having skin in the game and just being part of
involved.
something more. Yeah, just being completely involved in gaming in a way that's immersive, right? Like you see entertainment where it's going from watching a screen to like rumble boxes and immersive technology where you have wind. I recently went to the Sphere and experience Wizard of Oz all over again in a way that hasn't been done before. And I feel like this is the direction that Web3 is empowering gamers to be able to do, because in the end, as you get into your AR and you get into the technology, you need that community to really help support all of those things. And for us, that ethos of just being able to participate, being able to own, and being able to do, at some point in life, that player one opportunity to just integrate your favorite flexes, in a way that is interoperable, just changes the whole dynamic. So for me, like I tend to lean away from the tech only because in the end we have to bridge and give people these experiences so that they can do it not only on a personal level, but things that you share with your friends, your family. Because the best part is I'm old enough now that I have a 10-year-old and I get to share every single thing with him. Again, whether it's the plushies and the games themselves, but I get to introduce them to people like Matt and people like me that they would never have had the opportunity to, because in the end, it's like, this is where real players are, and we're able to do that because in the end, like Matt can talk about designing and building it, but it all comes from the heart of being a gamer himself. If you talk to him about Legend of Zelda and all the different iterations, the guy doesn't stop. Whether you talk about Pokemon, whether you talk about all these different games that he gets to share with his daughter, changes the whole landscape of what we're able to do. And so being part of Warp and working with Capital Guilds to give them a unified uh, epicenter, right? A place where they can work together. Also changes the narrative, right? Because a lot of times, as YGG, it's rare to be able to collab, to have game nights where you can have leaderboards and competitions and tournaments against other guilds. And that's how literally, I started out in the arcade world, right? Is that we had our factions, we had our West Coast, East Coast faction, we had our people coming up from the Midwest. And we got to just form these things where we get to build creators, right? At the end of the day, like that's the other thing we don't talk about is gamers are also creators that stream, that build their own income, and we're also to empower all of that because they're part of our ecosystem, part of guild in a way that again hasn't been done before, and it's just unifying them in a way that just makes sense. The more I hear Matt talk about it, it's kind of like, why haven't we done this all along? And it's so sad to see that this space, even though it is financially incentivized, really focus on just the money itself. And it became the downfall where, to your point earlier, right? It just becomes this, Web3 gaming, and then it just kind of hangs, right? So for us, we're changing the narrative, changing the story in a way that, again, has not only positive impact, but again, imprints on you in terms of positive experiences.
Yeah, 100%. It's been kind of that thing where it's like, what the heart of it was community, right? And then the extractors and all the other things have come in and kind of put a stain that we're still working and striving towards to let people know that cryptocurrency isn't just about the money. There's a community behind it, and there's a lot of really cool good things that can happen outside of that, besides being able to make a living with a token or make some good money, right? There's that non-tangible value that comes with having a community, that comes with being able to do all these things outside of that people a lot of people can't put a monetary value to. Like, I definitely couldn't put a monetary value to the time that I've been here with YGG, right? In the space, the community, the members that I know, right? That's, I guess, down the road, it'll probably be nostalgic to me, right? There won't be a time again like this time, right? There's these ups and downs. Actually, it's very similar to how it was, and I'm sure you guys feel the same way when the internet really started to become a thing. I remember having the first Xbox and having the first opportunities to verse somebody halfway across the world in Halo, right? Like that was a novel feeling that you try and explain that to your kid nowadays, and they don't understand that. What do you mean? Like you weren't able to play with somebody halfway across the world and head scope them and then do a teabag, right? Like this was all very new, right? Like that wasn't
I mean,
something
teabagging was new at the time. Teabagging was just brand new tech, like the crouching repeatedly on people's face. That would, like, we had to discover that because we needed the internet for that to become popular. And like, the things that we got from like gaming culture, like press F to pay respects, like all of those came from fantastic moments from games. And I think, like, even if we have AI games that we can all make ourselves, and we can all make ourselves the most crazy ass like AAA games with all the characters, and you can fall in love with all of them, and you're the best in the world, like that's basically like having a lucid dream. And you sound a bit creepy if you start to tell that to other people. So for me, games are like movies, they're shared experiences, right? I mean, even if I could make my own sort of series, um, which would probably feature lots of Americans walking down hallways of power saying, walk with me, and then discussing like various things. I like to watch that because I'm like, I'm so glad I don't have their job. And that's how you get over being a founder. You watch people doing a more difficult job than you under worse circumstances, and then you're happy. But no, the whole point of this is like it's a shared experience. Like if I make my own game, it's only for me. If I have my own dream, it's only for me. If we share this experience, but at the same time, we are like YPS Summit, like the summit is going to be so many people together who all share this common vision of coming together and seeing what's happening, like seeing what's cool, like looking at the stands and buying the food outside and queuing in the lines or talking to the people they want or seeing their favorite creator. Like all of those things are going to create a moment for those people who went together, like wearing that merch. Like I was so happy when I got like an Axie at the Ronin side event in Token 24/9. They like I did the thing, I spun a thing and I got a little Axie and I'm like, oh, this one's pretty good. It's got a leak for a tail and it's got like a little pumpkin on its back, and that's amazing. I was like, this is adorable. I am now invested much more in the ecosystem than I ever was. Like if you give someone a token, they're not invested. They want to get rid of that token. If you give someone a thing, they become invested. Like that Axie, I'm happy it's a liquid. Like if you just gave me some Ronin for turning up, I'd be like, yay, I'm going to spend some drinks with my friends. I'm going to sell that and spend and get something with my friends. I'm happier I got the Axie because I'm not going to sell that because it's kind of not worth to take away that memory. And now I'm more invested. When I see people sharing their Axie that they have, I can do that too. I can be part of that community. And I think that's what people missed about NFTs for games. It's not about the value and getting rid of the NFTs. It's about the NFTs you want to keep. It's the ones you want to hold. It's about like, yes, of course, sell the game token. Of course, do all of that kind of stuff. Of course, make your money. But you are then part of something where you can say, look at this crazy sword I've got, or look at this really cute character, or look at this weird thing I hatched from an egg before the game shut down. Like, it's still cool. Like, you still have a lot of that. And I think we made them too common. We made too many NFTs. We had too many people buying too many from one project. Like, what am I going to do if I have 5,000 Axies? I'm not going to be able to let my daughter name each individual one. I mean, she said that it was because we live in Sweden. She said if it's a boy Axie, we will call it Axel. And if it's a girl Axie, we'll call it Axie. But yeah, you know what I mean? It's about going back to why we're part like together in this. And I believe that the value chain is just missing that link between us as games producers directly paying people to help other people get in the game. Because if I give you $2, if I pay you $2 to play my game, then one other person will play and they will spend $3. Then I make a profit, you make a profit, everyone's happy. And your third friend, who like your friend who's he's brought in for free, but he might get something if he brings another friend. And that's cool. And that's fantastic.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I think you had a really good point there on terms of the AI, right? Like we're going to be able to see games get spun up very quickly and very like, again, they'll be AAA titles. So what do you do in a world where there's thousands of titles that you can play, right? You only have so much time. People only have so much time to put into it. Well, you're probably going to play the games that you feel you have a community with, right?
Exactly.
That's where the value is going to be. And I'm not sure these traditional studios are understanding that, right?
They're not. And it's only the people coming to our space. It's only the people willing to take that risk that are actually understanding how much this is going to change. It's a great point you make.
Yeah, right. So this, I think the future is very bright. I like to be an optimist, even with AI. There's a lot of doom and gloom, right? I like to be pessimistically optimistic, where I don't think we'll be going to some AI utopia, but I don't think we'll also be a dystopia. I think reality is somewhere always in the middle. So it'll be interesting to see where that is. And I'm very ingrained in, Web3, because I do believe that this technology will be, synonymous where, again, we had Web 1, we had Web 2, and people don't really call anything like that. They just call it the internet, right? They just call it that. I think there will be a point eventually where Web3 is just, it's the internet, right? This technology will be so seamless that people will be able to understand it, right, and go for it. And I think it's important to know what everybody's doing, the work that you guys put in, right, that Warp puts in, that all of the other publishers, what YGG puts in, is only propelling this space forward. And I think the future is extremely bright. Now, I do want to pivot a little bit here because we're talking games, and I want to ask you right now, and feel free not to answer this because you might not be able to play favorites, but what is the game that you're playing on Warp Chain the most right now? I know for a lot of our community, I know Axie loves Illumia because it's an MMORPG style game, right? That's just very, very big and gritty. But do you guys have a game within your own ecosystem that you're playing on like a daily basis that you really love?
I mean, I do like a good bit of Illumia as well. But the thing is, since we're building all of those games, like that, I'm actually getting sent a lot of new games. So I'm actually getting Steam codes, and I'm actually getting all of this. So I'm full of games. I've got quite a luxury, but I'd say Illumia is definitely one of those. And I do like a bit of Gladiator Mayhem as well. That's another one that we love. So yeah, it's really good. And I want to, like, the problem with me as a game designer is if it's involved in my job, I want to be like texting the founder. Like I'll be like texting the founder and be like, hey, should you really do this? Or like I literally had a massive conversation with Ryan on Triumph about how big the butt of a particular character should be. It was a thing. It was like a massive thing, like the model, and we were like, oh no, wow, that's yeah. So we were like, I tend to get into the weeds with it like that. So yeah, suffice to say that I'm really excited about all of the games that we got coming, and I need to play more of them because I'm very locked in on making everyone buy lots of nodes, get ready for the TGE, which is coming soon, with our token WRB, and making more fantastic partnerships, and also getting ready to go to YPS. So it's going to be good.
Excellent. Shalin, what about you? Are you playing a lot of Illumia, or is there another game that you have time for?
To be honest, I don't have a lot of time to do too much because outside of Web3, I take care of, and spend a lot of time with my son. We play more of the traditional console games only because it's easy to do it on the Switch, on the go. So I'm, just getting my hands dirty just with the things that he's able to do. And to be fair, anytime I play a game on my own, ever since I've been married, my wife always gives me the evil eye because she's like, you could be spending that time with me. Because unfortunately, as I've met so many different people across this world, and even just within any city that I've lived in, it's like, oh, there's like gaming is accepted. My wife, she's like, nah, I'm good. But if you want to spend that time versus me, we're gonna have a different problem. And so, unfortunately, I haven't been able to spend as much time gaming in the past year or so since I've joined Web3, just because
I thought you were going to say since I got married and then name the date.
I could do that too, but these things are recorded, so I try to like survive my own foot and mouth disease whenever I say these things. So even if I were to talk about all the different games I've had the chance to play, I mean, I think honestly, like I'm really just head down right now. And when we get through some of these things, but to add to your previous point, before we pivoted, the use of AI as agents and companions is a really great resource, because now you're able to have, like with our nodes, an AI companion that you can talk to, whether it's your waifu or whether it's the person that you want to explore and have conversations about games. This is kind of, I think, changing the landscape, right? People keep thinking of it being a replacement of gamers and replacement of builders, but the reality is it's right? It's co-building, it's co-creating, it's doing things in a way that I think people haven't had a chance to, and now you can really take things from ideation and your thoughts to actual like tangible assets and tangible ability to do these things. My son does it all the time, and so again, when I explore the technologies, a lot of times it's through my son's lens, right? Whether he started at 5-year-old to now 10, it's really changed the way I've looked at this, because for me, I don't worry about AI for him, because like, again, as a companion and a person that they can converse with safely, securely, privately, in a way that creates friendship. You know what I mean? I think it really does change the narrative of how the future is moving forward, because this companion could be the one that plays next to you in a game, and you just build off of that, and then create the social skills and the opportunity to build that into real life, because I feel like there's definitely a disconnect now between the real world and the digital world, and AI helps kind of bridge that. And so, for me, all these games, that we have upcoming, a lot of them incorporate AI. So I'm really looking forward to, unlocking possibilities and opportunities to really push things and the boundaries, because it's no longer limited by your own skill set, but really limited by your ability to just keep giving more ideas.
I mean, that's kind of funny though. I do see sometimes that there are people like creating images with AI art, and it's like it would actually be very disappointing when it comes out badly drawn, because that means you're terrible at having ideas. I think that's really funny. It's like you can see someone does like this fantastic anime character, and then someone does this kind of like derpy looking drawn like by a 14-year-old kind of character, and you're like, yeah. But I think the interesting thing about AI is that actually blockchain is a great hedge against it, in terms of verifying that this was really made by this thing, that this really exists in this thing. And I think that's really, it's gonna become standard. It will literally become standard, because if any single digital good could be kind of recreated, like imagine that a game is released and it's fantastic, it's made by AI, someone has access to the exact same AI, the exact same seed, the exact same prompt, they just make the exact same game. And it will generate in exactly the same way, and there will be no difference between your copy and their copy, if it's a single prompt game. I mean, now even with AI, right, you have to do like have someone to do the AI that links to the animations or this or that, when it is literally just say I want GTA but with flying cats. That will happen, and you'll get a seed with that, like an image seed, and someone else will be like, I want GTA with flying cats, copy that seed and do that, and it will be imperceptibly. And it's essentially, if there's a platform with a popular game on it, everyone will make that game, with subtle variations, and some people will gravitate to usually probably the one that the people they know are playing, or the person that made it is famous. So for us, and for me, to keep this kind of interactive layer of people talking to each other and having a shared community spirit, and not just essentially turning games into another form of meme coins, we need to have blockchain. I mean, if we don't have blockchain, AI is going to make games into YouTube, but with high quality. And YouTube is going to be made into YouTube when everything's AI and everything's Sora. It's already getting to the point where I have to like turn off the YouTube for my daughter, because she's like asking me, is this AI? Because it'll be like, I don't know, it'll be like someone cutting a cake and then their cat being like, ah! It's like, I laughed until I found that's AI. I don't mind Stephen Hawking like doing, like a half pipe, right? That's kind of funny. But I know that's AI, and no one's pretending it's not. But when you're pretending that it's just like a casual, funny video and it's AI, it's like, why? Why do that? Like, why spend the time to make a funny video of AI of two random people when you could just watch other random people doing stuff? Like, really? Come on, man.
Yeah, I'm sure we could have a whole conversation on AI and how it's changing the landscape. But I do want to give you guys some time to plug the upcoming TGE, because I know that's going to be extremely big, and it's pretty much on the horizon, right? Like it's what, next week, or it's pretty close. I don't think you have an exact date, but
yeah, no. So we're targeting the 25th for the TGE. And we're looking to get as many people excited about it as possible. And it's going to be the first time that you can actually buy warp tokens to then activate your nodes. The whole thing that we do is about the nodes. You can still buy nodes. They're available on Helium Deploy. And you can also text us if you want to buy nodes on the back end. But it's all good. We are looking to basically get the nodes validating. We want to get the TG out as quick as possible, so that we get as much of this network, as much of this flywheel here. We're not about let's try to make money off the token and extract a big bag for us. We're about like, we actually just want to prove that the system works, that the games get what they need to get, and that we build. because at the end of the day, we take revenue from building games. Those games make money. We take that revenue, we return that to the network, and we need our token to exist for that to happen. Will the price of that token go up? If it works, hell yes, it's going to be ridiculous. This is going to be hilarious, and we're all going to be very, very happy people. Whether you're in a guild or whether you're a node holder, someone who just buys the token on day one. But yeah, that is definitely the place to be.
Excellent. And how can people get involved with that? You said you could buy the node right now, but like how in terms of participating in the TGE, like do you participate? Do you play the games? Do you buy the token? Like how does that work for somebody that wants to get involved fresh?
So, it's the funny thing about our TGE is buying the token is the way to participate in the TGE. We don't have any sell pressure on day one, which is fucking hilarious. Like not one single dollar of token is going to be given by anyone to anyone for anything else. We will do things like airdrops and fun stuff and quests and all of the XP and all of that down the line. But you'll do that and we'll give that money away later. We're not going to give you a ton of money and then you just hope that it's worth something. You're going to know it's worth something already, and it's going to be worth even more year on year on year. So we're going to have a TGE with no sell pressure, which is going to be hilarious because everyone who buys it's going to be like, what, it keeps going up? Well, yes it does, sir. And that's what we're going to do. So yeah, we don't have any massive VCs or anything backing us. We are fully bootstrapped on this. We created all of this network and all of this together with the communities that we support and the people and the games. And that means RTG is vital for getting this working. And the quicker we get it done, the quicker we can validate, the quicker we can ship games. So trying to get it done soon. It will be on DEX launch. We're looking at LFJ. On Avalanche, token ticket will be WRP.
Excellent. Super exciting. And then, like you said, we do have a little bit of stuff in the pipelines between Warp and YGG. As you said, questing is coming eventually. We don't have all the details, but you guys will be on our community platform with some quests of your own, where I'm assuming people will be able to earn some Warp token by doing these quests.
Exactly. And the interesting thing is we were going to have a massive activation with YGG, but we have been told to hold back by a really exciting game client that's coming very soon. And you guys are in the foremost of our minds as the people who get to play and experience this new game.
So there you guys go. You guys heard it here first. Be on the lookout for that in the next couple weeks here. Probably after you guys are done coming back from YPS there. You guys are going to be busy. Yeah. But again, that's another thing. YPS is coming up next week, the YGG Play Summit, and you guys will be there, right? You guys will be attending. Do you have a booth?
No, we were going to have a booth if the game was on time that we were looking at. But they want to polish a few more things. It's not exactly a GTA delay, but it just made it untenable for getting us a booth together for them at the YGG Summit. I will be there myself, and I'll be running around and probably bring a few spare hats and t-shirts, and let's see what else other merch I can take. But yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, you better have some merch there. Some of the people that are tuning in, maybe they've got to have a secret code. You want to drop like a secret catchphrase here, Matt, and the people that come up to you and drop the secret catchphrase might get some merch.
Yeah, you completely put me on the spot there, because if I say it, I will forget it, and then people will be following me around, like hundreds of people shouting this thing at me. I'll be like, "What's going on? What did I do?" So yeah, I will take that under advisement, and if there is a code to get a t-shirt or some merch off me, you will have to find it on our Twitter, our X page, or in your Discord. We'll send it there to the people who've watched.
Excellent. Cool. Shalin, any closing thoughts from you?
No, I just am, grateful to have the opportunity to, work with you guys, because, I've actually, I'm very, I'm filled with gratitude because, I've worked with a lot of people from your community who've come up in the previous game studio that I worked at, and they were our mods, and they've become an integral part of that community. And what I love about YGG is that it really does come from players first, and what you guys have built from community to mods to creators, competitive gamers, content creators. It's a real beautiful ecosystem, and I just want to give a shout out to you guys because YGG does things the right way, and I feel like more people and more guilds have been following that model, and it's been a real blessing in disguise because again I've met so many wonderful people around the world and from YGG specifically that have really changed the way I look at things because the beautiful thing about what we do in Web3 is that you really do connect with people over passion, over games, over community, over NFTs. And this is just one of those things that, gives me the passion to do what I do every day at work, because in the end, I do it because I want to give back. I want to provide assistance and guidance and onboard as many people as possible. And so looking at what we're doing together at Warp and YGG is something that I feel is just the start and it's just the beginning. And to be very fair, if you do see Matt, he's actually hard to miss. You can't quite tell that this jolly giant is who he is, but when you see him in the real world, you won't be able to miss him because one, amazing smile. So make sure to look out for the smile, and two, given the standard height deviation between the average Filipino and my friend Matt, excuse me, is quite a bit. So you won't be able to miss him. So when you get the opportunity, please make sure to say hello. From YGG to Warp, because we're more than happy to embrace everyone, from yourself to anyone that we meet.
Are you saying I'm going to be giving free hugs to everyone turning up?
I didn't
That's
say
going to be my job.
I started with a smile, but your smile is but that's it. And Matt's a great hug giver. But yeah, no, I'm just grateful to be part of the show and part of the opportunity, because again, when I think of guilds, YGG comes to the first and foremost in my mind. So I really look forward to our continued partnership and continue to work with your guys as a fantastic community.
Yeah, exactly. I'm super stoked for the quests. Our community love quests, and I know if you guys are delaying the game or waiting for that game to be delayed, usually that's a good thing, not a bad thing. But
no, it's a good thing because we have a date. So we do have a date for that, and that is not that far. It's only a couple of weeks actually, but that just made it impossible to do with the live event. So when that comes through, it's going to be a lot of revolving around that. I just want to say thank you so much for inviting me to this, and I am absolutely looking forward to it. It's been a real pleasure to do this, and like chatting with Gabby especially. On like all of the crazy things that you guys have got going on, and him saying you should come down to YPS. I think it's fantastic. So yeah, big love to you guys, big love to Gabby, and big love to basically the OG of the OG of guilds.
100%.
Yeah, appreciate that, guys. I know we'll probably have you back on for another hangout once our the quests go live, and you guys can talk exclusively about that. Maybe we'll play live and we can have some friendly competition. We will see in a couple weeks. We are in the Telegram, but yes, thank you so much for joining, guys, and you weren't wrong, Shaolin. Matt can definitely talk for days. He knows his stuff.
Oh, brother.
Yes, yeah. So we will catch you on the flip side. Feel free to hop off. I'm going to do these giveaways now for the community with a few other things. But yeah, I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day, and we will see you in the metaverse.
Yeah, see you in the metaverse. Thank you so much for this. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Stay safe if you're still being lashed by the wind. And you can always get a hug from me next week if you're there in person.
That's
as long as I get to go around and do something in the day without having a lot of people hugging me constantly. But that's going to be fun anyway. So
you'll be busy, especially in the evening. I hope you know Filipinos can drink. So
yeah, absolutely. I have a lot of experience.
be very forewarned that you'll be getting dragged from after party to after party.
That sounds amazing. But yeah, take it easy, everyone, and I'll catch you on the flip side.
Yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Ciao.
Ciao.
So on that note, guys, we have some YPS tickets to give away, some YGG Play Summit. Let me see who has filled it out. Thank you for only filling it out if you don't have a ticket. And let's see, I only have 4 people so far who have filled out tickets, which I guess means a lot of you guys already have your tickets, which is even more fantastic. Last call. I also see a lot of people, 40, have filled out that form for tacos. So I will manually give you your taco points after the stream is done, because the events page was supposed to automatically refresh, but it did not refresh. So our team is looking into how to fix that. So I'm manually giving taco points out. Remind AC on his tomorrow stream to have a form, so that way we can manually give out that. I hope you guys enjoyed our chat with Warp. Again, another very, very great partner pushing this space forward, right? We couldn't be doing this without the community and partners like them, propelling what it is to be Web3 and have this technology. And again, hopefully, eventually it becomes just synonymous with the web itself, and we don't have to distinct between Web 2 and Web 3. It's just all together. But I do not see anyone filling out this form. So lucky for all those 4 people that have filled out the form, I will give all of you a ticket. That's it. All 4 of you guys are getting a ticket. No raffle needed. You're all winners today. Everybody's winners, whether you're getting taco points or a YGG Play Summit ticket. Again, hope to see you guys there. We've got a lot of really exciting things planned. And, as you heard from Warp, we've got even more quests coming. So be extremely prepared. After YPS, I have been informed too that Troverse, that tournament is coming as well. So get prepared. Everybody get prepared. The new year is looking extremely, extremely bright. And I hope you guys will all be extremely excited for all the things that we have coming. I am going to kick all of your butts in Troverse. No VIP ticket giveaway, Monchi. We can't do that. Have you seen the price of those things? Man, we will not be giving away them tickets. Not a chance. I don't even have a VIP ticket. So sorry, sir. Keep plugging it. Maybe you can convince Sam or Sir Gabby, but I will not be giving away any of those tickets. Too much pressure for me. And in terms of what's going to be going on for Friday, so I think for Play GG with Jay and Reese, I think we're going to be diving into some Lowland here this Friday. Some Lowland, maybe some Giga Chadbat. What do you guys think about that? Maybe some friendly competition. We got to get another point on the board for YGG. Well, guys, again, thank you so much for tuning in. I know it is getting late over there, so I will wrap it up there. As I said before, everybody that's on that list. Oh, look, somebody else just put in their name for that YPS ticket. I guess I should close the forum. Should stop taking responses. How do I close the forum? How do I manage accepting responses? There we go. No longer accepting responses. So the 5 people that filled out that form, you will get that. I should also probably close it for taco points. Taco points close. There we go. Okay, guys, that's it for today. Remember to tune in for Deep Dive Thursday with AC tomorrow, and I will catch you in the metaverse. Together we play.